The Saab 340 is a masterpiece of analog film. But when it's time to navigate the modern crowded skies of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, you need to master its digital brain. The Universal UNS1 FMS is tactical and precise, but it has a few old school quirks that can lead to a no-link discontinuity if you aren't careful. Today we're gonna look at how you can program your flight inside this nice system. We are unlocking the digital core of the Saab 340 to ensure your flight planning is as professional as your piloting. Before we program the route, let's fix the number one issue beginners face, a blank screen. Even if you program the FMS perfectly, your pilot display might not show it. If you press Shift and number 2, you will end up at this display, which is also known as the EHSI, Echo Hotel Sierra India control panel. This one has a lot of buttons and you can see it's currently switched to off, but by using this nice button you can switch it to on. You can switch it to the radar, you can switch to the nav, or you can switch it to off. Those are the options which you have, and the most important thing is that you need to make sure that it's set to nav to show the flight plan eventually. There are more options on this nice screen, but those will be covered in a future episode. Now let's look at how we can program the flight. To do that we press Shift 3, which brings us over here. Now you can see I broke the flight plan completely. So how to get started? Well, if you press the menu option you can delete the flight plan. If this one is selected you press the enter and then the flight plan is empty. Because if I now press FPL you can see it's completely gone. There are some weird things in this system, where you might not always get the feedback which you do expect to get. So let's get started. So what I did is I programmed the flight in the electronic flight bag. So now let's get it into this nice system. And this system of course is that nice navigation system, the UNS1 FMS, which is part of the Saab 340. So I'm gonna simply type the name, but before doing that you need to make sure that you press the entry and then simply start typing the name, ESSL, right? You see it here, and then you press the enter key. Once you've done that you can see some information. You can see it's an airport, you can see the long and latitude, and you can see the elevation, and then you can press accept. This will add the, in this case, departing airport to the flight plan. Now the trick is, what you normally would do is you would add the destination airport. However, in this system you shouldn't do that, because then you'll end up in weird situations. Because it will leave that airport always as airport number 2. Or as navaid number 2 I should say. So what we're going to do now is simply add the other ones, right? So we add VSN. So let's do that. Press enter again. It will show you exactly the same information. In this case a 4 DME, high, the frequency, and also some other information. So we simply press accept. Then we're going to the next one. ELPAX. Again, press enter, accept. You can see that this one is a different one. And while we're doing that you can see that the bearing is added, or the heading, and also the distance, which is super nice. Now let's add the next one, which is TOKSI, and then press enter again and accept. Now if for some reason you made an error, you can see that you can also use the delete button, right? I press delete again, and then we'll delete it. Let me do it with this entry. So press delete again, and then you see no link, which is, I would say, not a problem, because the no link will remain there because it thinks it has more positions. So let's add it again here and then say T Okay, that's I, and then press enter again, and now it's back. And that's how you continue your flight plan, right? I can also delete this one, delete it, so now it's gone. So sometimes you need to press delete twice to get rid of those nice entries. So Nylon is the next one, press enter again, and then we're good, right? You can either press the accept button by using this one, right? The left button on the bottom, or you can press enter again, and that will simply add it. And that's how simple, between brackets, it is. So press enter, enter, and then it's being added. Now there's the arrival procedure as well as the approach procedure, and you can see some other stuff. Now let's do something weird. Let's add the destination airport. And you will see why I do this in a few seconds. So it shows us the airport, it shows us the long latitude, it shows the elevation, the magnetic variation, and I press accept. So now everything is there and the flight is being programmed. So if we now would go back to the previous screen, you likely will see that it will show your flight plan. However, I also encountered some issues with this. Even if pressing the traffic button and then going back, you will see that it sometimes takes some time. So give it some time, don't worry, it will eventually add the flight plan. And if you zoom out, you can see also the flight plan being added. As you can see, the flight plan is here. So it shows that pink line, which is over here, which is the active leg of the flight plan. Now let's move back to the UNS1 FMS, because we're not ready, right? Because we saw some approaches over here. So how to configure that? Well, to do that, what you need to do is you can go to the menu option. Inside the menu option, you will find a lot of options, including the departure, which you can select. There you can select the departure runway. So let's assume that we're gonna move away from runway. What is it? Let me see, runway 29. Then I select number 2, because that is runway 9. It's a little bit, let's say, special, because you would expect you would need to enter 29 here, but enter the digit or the index ID, and then it will add it. After that, you can add the SID if there's an SID, right? Standard instrumental departure. But in this case, you don't see there is anything. So you can simply press enter, enter, and then we're done. Then press menu again. Sorry, need to go press flight plan again, then menu again, and then hit the arrive button. For the arrive, we can see exactly the same. So what we can do is we can select runway 22R. You would expect that you can select it here, but no, I also made a mistake. Enter number 5 over here and then hit enter. It will bring you to the next position, and the next position is the standard terminal arrival route. And that's the approach procedure, right? Here it says ERN04 Charlie, which is number 1. So we simply hit number 1, then hit enter, and then it will say, okay, hey, what do you want to add else? Well, in this case, I don't want to add anything else. And I can go to the approach. In this case, ILS. So we simply press number 1 again, and then hit enter, and then it asks us for the transition. So if there is a transition available, it will show it to you. If there is not, don't worry, it's not needed. In this case, it's direct, so we don't need to add it over here. So we press enter, enter, and then go back to the flight plan. Now you of course will see that there will be a no link, and that's kind of the discontinuity which you also have in the Airbus, etc. But as far as I understand, this is perfectly normal, because this is a different part of the flight. Normally the arrival procedure, etc. will be done manually and not using the autopilot. However, if you want to get rid of it, you can still do that. You can press the entry, hit delete again, and then you're done, and then you can see that the entry is gone. I can move to next pages. You can see that the altitude is there, you can see that the distance is there, and then you programmed your flight completely, including the ILS, including everything, because if you compare it with this list, it 100% matches, which is super nice, right? What do you want to have else? Because now you can say start the engines if you did not do it already, and then simply take off. Now let's show you the second way to program the flight. Yes, there is a second way. And this way might be a little bit weird to you, but it works. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add the airport. We're gonna say number 1, Echo Sierra Lima, and then hit enter twice. And then say Echo Kilo Charlie Hotel, I think it was. Yes. And then hit enter twice. Now we've added both the departing and destination airport, and now we can go to the menu and select the arrival route. So we're gonna say number 5, number 1. We don't have a transition. Again, number 1, and then we don't have a transition there. And then if we go to the flight plan, you can see everything is added as expected, including the no link. Now, what if I want to program the rest of the, say, information? Well, I simply press the option over here. Sounds weird, I know. Press MISMA, hit enter, and then you can see it places it above the flight plan or above the, say, arrival procedure. Now if we want to add a NILN, what I do need to do is I need to press MISMA and then say here MISMA and then hit enter twice. Right? Oh, I just should have added MIS. I'm not making an error. So let's delete this one. And let's change this one because I was incorrect. This needs to be a NILN. And then hit enter twice. And then we need to get rid of this nice entry. And here you can see how complex it can be. Now after we added NILN, we're gonna add another one, which is Toxi. Hit enter twice. And then you can see it added above. So this is what they call reverse, I would say, flight planning. Which is, I would say, I don't have an issue with it because I think it still works. But it's a different way which you can also use. Which way you want to use, I would say I'll leave it up to you. Don't forget that the no link is still there. And don't forget, because I also forgot it, to set the departure, select the runway, in this case number 2, and then hit enter twice. And now the flight has been programmed, and if we would go back to this nice display, we can see it has been added perfectly fine. So what do you want more, right? Let's get started flying. Well, for that you need to wait for the next episode, because in the next episode we're gonna look at how you can start this aircraft, then simply program the flight, and then we're gonna fly. It's not for the first time we're gonna do that, because we already did a very short flight, right, to show some of the functionality of the aircraft. But I want to show you a few things more. So if you like this video, hit the like button and make sure that you subscribe for the next video about the Saab 340. Thanks for watching, and until next time.